Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to contribute this afternoon and discuss the current pathways and the key priorities for Northern Ireland. Before doing so, I will briefly describe how myeloma care is currently delivered within the region. So Northern Ireland has a population of 1.9 million. It has 5 health and social care trusts. Each of those trusts delivers care for myeloma, but Belfast City Hospital, where I am based, is the level 3 tertiary centre for the region, and it's where all of our autografts are performed. The region sees approximately 170 new patients with newly diagnosed myeloma per year. We perform upwards of 60 autografts per year. And like many of you, we have noticed a real increase in demand upon our services. In our own unit within the last year, we have observed a 20% increase in SAC prescribing, that's oral, IV and subcut, and a 24% increase in bed occupancy within the last year. So certainly as our patients do better for longer, we all feel the increased demands and pressure on our services. In Northern Ireland, we largely follow NICE pathways as approved for NHS England. We don't specifically have a cancer drugs fund, but we do have access to drugs which are approved via the CDF, but this was not always the case. Prior to 2018, we did not have access to the CDF, and that was a real cause for concern. And it was back in 2018 that daratumumab became available as a monotherapy via the CDF, and just think of the number of drug combinations that have entered via the CDF since then. Prior to 2018, the then Health Minister, along with several advocacy groups, did examine this process, and with the improved access to new drugs published in September 2018, we were able to access drugs that are available in the CDF. Similar to Kerry, we do not use the Blue Tech process, but we are asked to submit what is called a cost per case application. This is a simple Word document, and again, it's my understanding it's not just as laborious or tedious as the Blue Tech process. We have a loophole with respect to SMC. I've never really been able to understand how that was developed or why it is there, but it's certainly advantageous to us in some respects. As Jennifer mentioned, Scotland went first with DVTD in the transplant eligible induction setting, and we were able to therefore access this through the SMC loophole some 12 months before colleagues in England and Wales. But NICE always trumps SMC, so if the NICE decision is different, we have to follow NICE. And I've listened with interest to what Jennifer has just said about the new process with respect to pomalidomide and PVD, and I'll be really interested to see if there's any little loopholes or ways and means that we may be able to explore that. So that's something for us to take forward from today. I joined UKMS in 2017. I am aware of the important work that Martin is doing with respect to pathway optimisation, and I was keen to explore if this was something that we could look at within our own region. Recently, we submitted a paper to NICAN, which looks at the substitution of thalidomide for lenalidomide, changing DVTD to DVRD in our transplant-eligible patients. This was supported by NICAN and was recently presented to some commissioning colleagues on Monday past. They were very receptive to the clinical need and the clinical ask and understood the rationale behind this. But what they're trying to explore is the mechanism to allow us to move this forward. So it was met with positivity, and it's something that we hopefully will try to progress in the coming months, and that is one of our key priorities in the next year. When we think about the other priorities in the region over the next 3 to 5 years, I haven't really focused on combination of drugs or changing the pathways because we do largely follow that NICE process. So I've largely tried to think what are our current challenges, as those will be our priorities, and it largely boils down to both workforce and infrastructure. We have significant consultant gaps. Carrie alluded to that in Wales. We're the same in Northern Ireland. We've had a number of retirements in recent years and those posts remain unfilled. So I'll make a shameless plug if anyone's coming towards the end of their training. It is a lovely place to live and work, so you'll be more than welcome. But one of the ways in which we have tried to bolster that and to cope with the increased demands upon our SAC services is with the expansion of non-medical prescribers. I'm here today with the chair of the nurses group, Jackie Quinn. Jackie has been instrumental in driving a nurse-led SAC service within the Belfast Trust, and without her in that service, I'm not sure how our myeloma service would run. We are keen to grow and explore that, and she's about to take on bispecifics into that, but she already looks after patients who are receiving DVTD, DVD, and IPD in that service. And we are very keen to expand our non-medical prescriber roles in the coming years. We are keen to explore the expansion of ambulatory care, and we are very keen to ensure that there's equal access to treatments on par with the rest of the UK and also clinical trials. We struggle sometimes with clinical trials because we have a small team and we are in competition with colleagues who are looking after patients with CLL, leukemia and lymphoma. We're keen to ensure that we have good representation in the myeloma space. It's been harder for us to open some of the early phase trials, and in certain circumstances we have reached out to the Christie and to other quaternary centres and had small numbers of patients travel across to avail of that. We're keen to ensure that patients aren't disadvantaged just due to geography. Last year, there was the publication of the Cancer Strategy for Northern Ireland. This is a 10-year plan. It's a very ambitious strategy and it's across heme and onc. Largely, it focuses on areas like workforce and infrastructure, but with specifics to myeloma, it does reference diagnostics and in particular imaging. And certainly on the back of the recent BSH paper, we have gone back to commissioners to try and explore more equitable access to whole body imaging in the region. Again, in Belfast, we're able to access PET and whole body MRI, but it is not the same throughout the region. And finally, just the importance of networks and collaboration. The role that I hold in UKMS is really important to me and to the region. It has allowed us to see what best practice is throughout the rest of the UK and bring that back home and ensure that we are on par with the rest of the UK. Also, I know that Professor Siobhan Glavey was here yesterday and today, and she is setting up an Irish Myeloma Society and has been kind enough to invite Northern Irish representation onto that. And I think that will make for a very interesting collaboration, as there are differences in reimbursement, and it may make for some nice pieces of work to compare and contrast our current pathways. We do certainly present at All Ireland meetings, and these were just examples of recent abstracts where we looked at our real-world by-specific use in Northern Ireland. And again, like Kerry, we have more liberal use of IVIG, and we were able to show reduction in infection risk and also hospitalisation with the preemptive use of IVIG. And we also explored our recent Bellamaf work as well. And we hope to update this and then present later this next year at BCSH. So we kind of make the best of both worlds based upon our geography. And with that, I would just like to thank the wider committee at UKMS. It was Gordon back in 2017 who reached out to invite a Northern Ireland representative. I'm very grateful for that inclusivity. I think both I and the region have benefited from it. Thank you.
Thank you all.